The cold spell which has hit the country over the past weeks has inspired many of us to dig deep into our wardrobes for long-forgotten jackets. I hope you find you warm this evening. I'm Chingeto Chidi and welcome to the weekly news roundup, and here are the headlines. Julius Malema calls on Mnangagwa to go. Mnangagwa spies on Chamisa rallies. ZEC ends with egg on face. The European Union puts boots on the ground. The Chinese were stealing lithium during the night. Kasukuwere stays in SA as pressure mounts on his candidacy. Victims of political violence relive experience in Chipadze. Whirlwind rallies for Chamisa. Minister poo-poos police. And now for the news in greater detail. Neighbors South Africa have waded into Zimbabwean politics after the opposition EFF declared that Zimbabwe can only move forward by voting out President Emmerson Mnangagwa. The EFF national chairperson Veronica Menche, speaking to Blessed Mhlanga on the Frederick Newman Foundation-supported Free Talk, said Mnangagwa had failed and deviated from the founding principles of the liberation struggle.
I mean, so you are telling me right here, right now, Madam Menche, that the EFF would be very happy to have Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa and his government in Zimbabwe unseated?
Yes. If ever the people of Zimbabwe wants a different government, a government that is willing to work for them, so be it. He must be removed if ever he has an agenda that is not serving the people of Zimbabwe. And currently, the people of Zimbabwe are not happy. The people of Zimbabwe under its government, they are not even in Zimbabwe. They are leaving Zimbabwe in numbers.
To watch the full interview, join us this Thursday at 5 p.m. for our Free Talk election series. Kasukuwere has accused President Emmerson Mnangagwa of buying judges to do his bidding ahead of the crucial August 23 poll. The former ZANU-PF political commissar, who turned independent and is challenging Mnangagwa for presidency, said the judge who delivered the ruling excluding him from the presidential race was biased because he received trinkets and gifts from the state led by Mnangagwa. Speaking through his spokesperson Jacqueline Sande, Kasukuwere came short of saying the judges were corrupt.
President Kasukuwere also felt that it was essential to challenge the root judgment in the matter on the basis that the judge who gave it did not give a competent order because he was biased. So this is the application that we have filed before the court, that the judgment itself be rescinded because the judge was biased, having received a house from the state prior to making this judgment.
Opposition leader Douglas Munzura, accused of going to bed with ZANU-PF, is in 6s and 7s as he battles to get his candidates on the ballot paper through the High Court. Munzura, who rose to the helm of the MDC through a Supreme Court ruling, is struggling to hold the party together and faces a tough poll without parliamentary candidates. His battle to get 87 of his candidates on the ballot is still playing out in court. Our reporter Kelly Mabaire filed this report.
The printing of ballot papers remains on ice as the courts battle to conclude petitions which are before them, as the MDCT's Douglas Munzura is battling to get 87 of his candidates accepted to contest on August 23. Munzura's candidates missed the bus on nomination day owing to the challenges with the banking systems and are now before the courts demanding that they get an order which allows them to have their names and faces on the ballot. Munzura, who has been in a close relationship with ZANU-PF, has now changed shape and color after the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission closed the door on his candidate. He believes the Justice Priscilla Chigumba-led commission is being vindictive amid unfair to his outfit.
The MDC is the only party that is being treated this way. 87 of our candidates have been disqualified unfairly because the Zimbabwe Election Commission refused to accept bank transfer. Now, yesterday in the Nathan Valerio case, it was ruled that payment by bank transfer is acceptable as a form of payment. The MDC is being unfairly prejudiced. Our candidates are going to get less than 30 days to campaign. But we shall not give up because we know that we are being punished. We are being punished because we challenged ZEC in the delimitation report. And this is meant to give an example to other people not to challenge ZEC again. So we are not going to relent. We are going to continue challenging them, ZEC and the ZANU-PF, who are trying to affect our campaign. We shall not give up. And as you can see, most of the candidates are here and they've not given up.
The matter, which is now before the High Court, is expected to be completed to allow the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission ample time to print ballots and ready itself for polls. Speaking to the media soon after the court session, Monzora's lawyer, Love Momaduku, who is also a presidential candidate, spelled out the timeliness of how the court will roll out.
We have made tremendous progress. What then transpired is that we have agreed, both parties, ourselves and the Electoral Commission, that the MDCT MPs and the President will file affidavits of evidence. We will then accompany those affidavits of evidence with our own detailed legal arguments, and that will be filed on Monday, 24th. Then the Electoral Commission will then file its own responding affidavits of evidence together with their heads of arguments on Tuesday, 24th of July. Then thereafter, the judge will decide whether he wants anything else. In other words, we have allowed the judge to decide the matter on the basis of what we will submit, what is called legally deciding the matter on the papers. If he wants additional submissions, he will call us for the additional submissions. But what we thought, because we now want the matter to be resolved once and for all, we thought that we can make a case. We've already, shown certain indications. I mean, the judge has been able to interact with us. We now know which issues ought to be dealt with and which issues are already common cause. That's what we are here. So we are likely to have judgment in this matter perhaps as from Wednesday next week.
If Monzora fails to field the 87, his Waterloo would be imminent. A presidential candidate who has no parliamentary candidates is a sitting duck in Zimbabwean politics. Although his chances of winning the presidency are slim, his political career might be saved if he manages to secure some parliamentary seats. The jury is out. Reporting for HSTV News, Kelly Mabaire, Harare.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa revealed that he spies on Nelson Chamisa, his opponent in the presidential race, as the race inches towards its climax. Mnangagwa, addressing a rally in Zaka, told his supporters he had dispatched a spy drone to check on Chamisa. The ZANU-PF leader, who came to power on the back of a coup, is leaving no stone unturned ahead of a potentially bruising August 23 plebiscite.
It's about 124,000 gathered here, counted by the drone. Tatumira drone vasingavoni kwavari kuita msangano wave CCCCC mugweru vaita 15,000. Saka vanopinda rushanu. Rungani rushanu patiri pano. Moment times 7 times. Kuti vasvike patiri pano 7 times. Asichatoda kwavari ngavaite murunyararo. We want peaceful election campaign before, during, and after these harmonized elections.
Chamisa, leader of the Citizens Coalition for Change, who poses the biggest threat to Mnangagwa's occupants at State House, has accused Mnangagwa of using state institutions to block him from freely campaigning. The opposition has had more than 10 of its rallies banned by the police.
All right. Kana maramba izozvi, they've been stopping all our meetings. But you cannot stop an idea whose time has come. Unogona kuderera Chamisa uchiona muturu mudiki. Asi nzwisisa mgomo wangu tichandakatakura wari mandiri ndiye mukuru. Haumboti goni chero ukazama sei nguva yakwana ugoni kuimisa fanika musi wa 24 verenga chiringa zuva unenge wakukwekwe state avamo chero ukaramba ukaita sei nguva yamwari hairambwi.
Zimbabwe Electoral Commission ZEC was left with egg on the face after a High Court ruled it had failed in its duties on nomination day. ZEC had thrown out Elizabeth Valerius' presidential nomination papers, saying she had failed to pay her fees on time. The Electoral Management Board has now been forced to add Valerius' name on the ballot paper, increasing the number of presidential candidates to 12. Our reporter Joyce Zigidi filed this report.
It was all jubilation, smiles and handshakes at the Harare High Court, a sign of victory and satisfaction. A chance to fight just another day for the United Zimbabwe Alliance leader, Elizabeth Valerio, who went head-to-head with the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission for its omissions and won.
We had appealed against ZEC's refusal to register President Valerio on the ballot paper. So our appeal was successful. So the court ruled that what ZEC had done was incorrect. So ZEC is supposed to take all necessary steps to make sure that she is registered on the ballot paper and be contesting on the election to be held on the 23rd of August 2023. So that is basically what has happened.
She now becomes the only woman so far to get on the presidential ballot paper after the High Court ruled that ZEC had failed in its mandate when it closed its door on the UZA leader allegedly for failing to pay her nomination fees within the deadlines. Although she had the money, the banking and payment systems in the country made it practically impossible to meet the Commission's deadlines. Instead of embarking on the campaign trail immediately after nomination court, Valerio and her party were dragged into the battle to get on the ballot paper.
I'll say also that I feel like in Zimbabwe, it's time that those that have responsibility in certain institutions, particularly in our elective process, understand that there is also an element of, how do I say, ethics that you have to uphold. Let's make sure that in the future we are doing the right thing. As we speak right now, I have been vindicated as a candidate, but we still have 29 other cases. We have MP candidates who are supposed to be on the ballot right now and are not. So there is still a long walk for us, a long journey for us in terms of the legal process.
The fight is not yet over. UZA still has members of parliament who are still out of the race over a failed and failing banking system. The payment systems have hit a lot of other potential candidates who include Linda Masarira, who wanted to run as president, and 87 other parliamentary candidates in the MDCT who are also still out in the cold.
Well, I think for a long time Zimbabweans have been wanting to see genuine change in our country. We've had 43 years of a governance that is not taking us forward. And so this gives the citizens, the voters, who are looking for something very different in terms of leadership, the opportunity to make a choice. We could, on the 23rd of August, have a very different presidential candidate. Certainly a woman, but also our political party has a very different outlook in terms of our mandate, our manifesto, and the work that we are wanting to do. So we're going to be the first political party that will actually implement its party manifesto.
The August 23 general elections are a high-stakes game for incumbent President Emmerson Mnangagwa and main contender, Citizens Coalition for Change, Nelson Chamisa, whose political careers will hang in the balance upon loss. In Zimbabwean history, this election has been fought more in the courts than on the campaign trail, with other battle to stop former ZANU-PF Commissar Kasukuwere from standing as an independent presidential candidate unfolding in the courts. Joyce Zigiti, HSTV News, Harare.
Independent presidential candidate Kasukuwere remains holed up in South Africa weeks after making unfulfilled threats to come back home. Kasukuwere, a former ZANU-PF political commissar, flushed out of power during a coup which ousted the late President Robert Mugabe, caused panic in the corridors of ZANU-PF when ZEC accepted his nomination papers. As he stays in South Africa, there are spirited efforts to get him removed from the ballot. Our reporter Joyce Zikiti filed this report.
The fight to remove the former ZANU-PF political commissar Xavier Kasukuwere, who turned independent from the presidential ballot, continues to take twists and turns, while slowing the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission from designing and printing the ballot. An attempt to resolve the drama continued to play out at the courts amid numerous postponements. Lavdo Mangwana, a suspected ZANU-PF proxy, wants Kasukuwere to watch the polls from the sideline instead of taking center stage as a presidential candidate. He had initially won this battle only to be stopped by Supreme Court appeal, which is still pending. Mangwana then approached the High Court seeking an order to execute the High Court judgment pending appeal. This again was postponed to allow processes to be followed.
All right. The matter involving Lavdo Mangwana and President Xavier Kasukuwere was heard today at the High Court at 10:30. It was basically for case management, and the matter was postponed to the 24th of July. This was to allow the parties to file their papers. The applicant, the respondent, which is Xavier Kasukuwere, is to file their opposing papers on the 19th of July 2023. The applicant, Lavdo Mangwana, is to file their answering affidavit and their heads of arguments on the 21st of July 2023. On the 22nd of July 2023, President Xavier Kasukuwere will file his heads of arguments, and then the matter will be heard on the 24th of July 2023.
On the other hand, the Supreme Court has set timelines to hear Kasukuwere's appeal against the High Court ruling. This matter is now going to be heard on an agent basis. Method Ndlovu spoke to the press.
Well, we just came out of the Supreme Court, in which an order by consent was issued. You will recall that Xavier Kasukuwere filed an appeal against the judgment of the High Court, and Mangwana filed an urgent chamber application asking that the appeal be heard on urgent basis. Then we took instructions from our client, who requested that we consent to that order being sought. So we have agreed that the appeal will be heard on urgent basis. That will be on the 26th of this month, following the filing of the papers by the parties. So the first order that was given by the court is that the application has been granted, obviously by consent of the first respondent, who is Xavier Kasukuwere. Then we have been given up to Wednesday next week to file heads of argument in respect of both parties. Then thereafter the court will hear and determine the main appeal itself. That is one.
As all this unfolds, Kasukuwere is holed up in South Africa, where he has become the darling of the South African press and social media. His trip back home remains in doubt and could possibly remain a wish. Joyce Tsigiti, HSTV News, Harare.
Nelson Chamisa has stepped up his campaign in a whirlwind of tours which have seen him going across the country as he builds his challenge to presidency. Chamisa was in Berengwa on Thursday, jumped over Bulilima, Matabele and South today, and now heads to Beitbridge on Sunday for his star rally.
Tisina zvikoro, tisina zvipatara, tisinawo kuti tava nemchimiro pamabatiro edu. Mukatarisa pari zvino mawa veterans chaiwo achiri kungovhetwa kubva 1980 muchingobvetwa. Vana chipfido muri kupi? Vana chipfido nana mchibva muri kupi? Muri kungovhetwa kubva 1980. Isiri kukutara aiwa unosvika pakufa na chingi.
Victims of political violence in Bindura relived past torture experience which continue to haunt them ahead of crucial August 23 elections. The victims say they are here to receive justice or heal from the effects of violence.
Especially to my side, ndikatarisa 2019 whatever, soon after my elections, ndakasangana nedambudziko rekuvictimizwa, ndikauya ndikaapprehendwa pano neCIO, ndikapwanyirwa mawindo edzimba dzese, madhoo akatsemurwa, dhoo rikasara riri pasi. Vana vangu vakatraumatizwa to the last ngirikini yekuti izvozvi vakangonzwa chinhu charira kuti gwendere mumba. They thought kuti vanhu vaya vauya. saka zvinhu zvinotorwadza zvokuti muno muvictimization yacho yakanyanya. CIO is everywhere. Unotonyatsoona kuti mararamiro aunenge waakuita ukangoona mupurisa wautofunga last incident kuti ndofunga vanhu vaya vanenge vauya kuzonditora zvakare. Saka zvinhu zvinoshungurudza zvokuti mune madhethi akawanda, vanhu vakafa, vamwe vachifa vachipiswa, vamwe vachiita sei. Saka zvinhu zvinotorwadza zvisingaite. Ukangoona mapurisa akungotenderera nemaCIO something zvinenge zvichingoitika zviri unique, unenge wakutopedzisira kutofunga kuti pamwe they have started.
Government has let the cat out of the bag, with President Mnangagwa telling ZANU-PF supporters that is all where the friends China were stealing lithium in the dead of the night. Mnangagwa said he called the Chinese to his official residence to warn them against the theft.
Kuno mune Bikita Minerals kunoko takai lithium takai taura kuti aiwa ngaitipe program. Atidi kuti kudhara vayanga achikotora zvichera zvedu vasina kuzviita beneficiate vachiendesa kunze, tikati kwete. Vakambotanga vachachitsotsi usiku vachitakura zvinhu, vanhu vedu vakazviona. Ndikavadana kuState House maChina iwawa, ndikati musagara pasi, rambai mumire ichitaura nemu vakamira, muzive kuti pamberi pamambo izvi nezvizvi handidi maziwa here. Tazvinzwa mambo, muchazvidzokera here? Hatichazviiti zvakare. Chidzokerai, ndambokuregerai kwanhasi. Mukadzokerera boots modzokera.
The European Union has put boots on the ground after deploying its observer mission delegates ahead of the August 23 general elections. Speaking to HSTV News, Deputy Chief Observer Beata Martin Rosimilovic said they are committed to producing a factual and independent assessment of the polls.
And I would just like to say to the people of Zimbabwe that we very much appreciate the opportunity to be in this wonderful country, to be able to work together to achieve common goals, and really to look to visions of the future where we can, as a community of democracies, work better together and achieve those common goals which all of us want.
Deputy Tourism Minister Barbara Rhodes has been caught in the eye of a storm following an audio leak in which she attempted to undermine police investigations into criminal activities. The audio, which was unwittingly confirmed by government through its spokesperson Nick Mangwana, opened the nation into the world where those in power abused it to get away scot-free with crime. Mangwana tried to downplay the bull by saying Rosie had done this because of her depression following the death of her husband in a car accident a few weeks ago.
Which case? I'm sorry. All right. Ari kunze akabhiza maposta pa etripusi.
Une evidence yacho?
Ndinayo.
Ndokumbira evidence yacho. Number 1. Ari kunze akabvisa mutswani. Number 2.
Ma'am, I don't know kuti ndiri kupa this information nemhaka yei.
Unofana upani?
Ndiri kuitira dokita rokuenda kucourt.
For what business? Une suspect. Iwewe handiti uri assistant inspector station apo.
I think that's obvious, yes.
Mune doketa here kupiswa kwemusha wa death.
Rakaitwa law and order gweru tinaro.
Rakaita sei?
Rakaitwa law and order gweru.
Ndokumbira kuziva kubva kwauri as an inspector,
assistant inspector
we station.
Yeah.
Usandicorrect ndoziva zvandiri kutaura.
Ma'am, ndofunga ndiri kutaura kuti munhu anoziva zvaari kutaura ma'am. Hello?
Ndakateerera taura chini.
Ndachikukorrekta ndonzi assistant inspector.
Yes, ndingatokubvunza that time kuti iva assistant inspector.
Yes.
Don't try to be sarcastic.
All right, go ahead.
Don't even. Handina kufanana nevamwe vese vaurikutaura navo. Ndandambotaura newe Mateo ndasaka na namba yavo.
Kopuri kutipopotera china ma'am?
Ndiri kukupopotera bhozvi rutadza basi.
Ndatadza papi.
Watadza pe?
Kutangila papi. Statement ya witness, Mr. 12 July.
Mr. 12 July ndadina danger.
Yeah, iyo inenge defense yake azvirambidzwe. Inenge defense yake anozitaura mukoti izvozvo.
Iwewe sasa assistant inspector na inspector wako nevamwe vese hamugoni kugara pasi kana nyaya yauya kwamuri.
Kugara hawo.
Kugara chaiko pasi kudiscuss.
No.
Kana kuti musati mapalo. Saka renyu basa infestation apa. Kupa law and order everything.
No, I think maybe chofara kuti akachaitika ndechoti muzive kuti mandate yangu semupurisa ndeichi. Kune bhuku rinonzi RRB. Myrozi, you don't have to be personal and call me stupid. Don't go around telling people what you say. Thank you.
Korea gifted music-loving President Emerson Mnangagwa a Bluetooth speaker and the First Lady a makeup kit.
The Republic of Korea gifted Zimbabwean leader President Emerson Mnangagwa with a Bluetooth speaker and a set of cosmetics handed to First Lady Auxilia Mnangagwa.
Speaker, Korea is famous for the IT technology. So this is a very beautifully shaped Bluetooth speaker for your entertainment, for your relaxing. This is for the First Lady. Korean cosmetics. This is number one. Okay. First Lady.
Speaking after the presentation, Jae Kyung promised to further strengthen the relations between Zimbabwe and the Republic of Korea in sectors of education, technology, peace and stability.
I will try to open my office and my embassy, particularly to you journalists, so you can knock on my door anytime and I'll be open to your questions and everything. Of course, at the same time, I will try to meet the people on the streets in Zimbabwe as often as possible. So today, this morning, I am very thrilled and excited to have the chance to call on the President, His Excellency, and present my credentials. So you may think this is the day one, and I will try my best to further strengthen our bilateral relations in promoting tourism, in promoting economic cooperation, and in contributing to the peace and stability in the region.
Vongai Kawa, HSTV News, State House.
Now we turn to the video of the week.
Badara Chikwere, Shamwari, Badara Chikwere, Wakakwere, Taras Nema Piske, Auchada Kuno, Badara Chikwere, Kanamaputi Wakatora Chipake, Wandashika Wandi Wandam Toilet, Wakaram Wana Bridges, Angas Wona Uristupe, Wakura Mosaronga Gonya, Pahadi Wachino, and you were suspect. So now Waka Manga Congre, Neshikwere, you watch your celebrity. How from the greater project, Sasara Uchafuri, Watoke, Nene Usada Badara Blanket, Waka
Thank you for joining us on the weekly roundup. Please don't forget to press that subscribe button before you leave so that we keep you informed. This bulletin is powered by the Zimbabwe Independent, the Standard, Newsday, and of course your favorite digital platform, HSTV News. I'm Chengede Chidi, from me and the crew behind the scenes. Good night.